Welcome to Beyond Just Money by Kalkinemedia, an independent global media house and investor relations group. Please note that this podcast is for information purposes only. It's not a solicitation or recommendation to buy, sell, or hold the stocks of any company or companies or engage in any investment activity under discussion. Kalkinemedia is neither licensed nor qualified to provide investment advice through this platform.
Welcome to Beyond Just Money with me, Samta. And today with me, I have the head of content of Kalkinemedia, Nidhi Sinha, with me. The menace around the COVID-19 pandemic seems to be picking up the momentum yet again. The monster virus has already churned out its new variant that is making up almost half of the growing daily cases in the UK. Now, even Australia has entered a lockdown. And to discuss this, we have Nidhi with us, like I said. Welcome to the show, Nidhi.
Thank you, Samta. The mutations of the coronavirus are alarming, to say the least.
Well, that's absolutely right. And what are your views on the latest spread of the Delta variant of the virus?
Well, the latest strain, which is the Delta Plus variant, has been formed due to a mutation in the existing Delta or B.1.617.2 variant. This was the variant that originated in India. As the new strain spreads its tentacles, the UK saw 97,365 fresh COVID cases last week, which was a growth of 53% on a sequential basis. This strain has had such an impact that authorities have already started sounding the alarm bell, cautioning people. Overall, Europe has been badly hit. The Delta variant has showed significant growth in France too, as it accounted for about 20% of the total COVID cases in the country this week. Compare this with around 10% of total cases just the week before. It has also become dominant in Germany as the number of cases doubled over a week. It has proven to be more contagious when compared with the other variants of COVID. In Britain, the number of recorded cases were 22,868 as on 28 June 2021. In fact, the daily positive cases have accelerated over the last 1 month. However, rapid vaccinations have weakened the death rate in Britain. According to recently available data, 44.45 million people had received the first dose of the vaccine in the UK, and 32.58 million people already have had both shots.
Well, that was an update about UK. What about other nations, Nidhi?
Well, US President Joe Biden said last week that 600,000 plus Americans have died. But even after the Delta variant recedes, there may be others in the making. So more young people need to get vaccinated. Meanwhile, the World Health Organization or the WHO has already called Delta as the most transmissible variant that the pandemic has seen in the last 2 years. Some nations have also announced yet another set of COVID lockdowns to thwart the spread of the new variant. The latest to join the bandwagon is the New South Wales government in Australia, announcing a lockdown in the Greater Sydney area as cases from the new variant touched 110 recently. During the lockdown period that lasts till 9 July as of now, the people in Greater Sydney and other specified areas have been asked to stay at home. The lockdown in Greater Sydney came despite resistance from local Conservative government. However, later on, the provincial government succumbed to the suggestions which was made by the experts over the issue, and hence the lockdown commenced.
Well, Nidhi, people sometimes confuse a lockdown with a curfew. So could you please elaborate on this and how a lockdown helped to contain the spread of the virus?
Before we distinguish between a lockdown and a curfew, let us first try to understand what a lockdown is. So it is basically used as an emergency protocol and prevents people from leaving a given area. A full lockdown will mean that you must stay where you are and not exit or enter a building or the given area. However, in this scenario, most of the times essential supplies are allowed, but all non-essential activities remain shut for the entire period. A lockdown is not time-bound and it is in place 24/7. But curfew, on the other hand, is time-bound with daily relaxation timings. Also, a curfew is mostly used to contain law and order situations. Now, the question arises whether the lockdown is helping to contain the coronavirus. A lockdown mandates people to stay at home. So with minimum interaction possible, the lockdown basically slows down the spread of a pandemic and has been historically used as a control measure to combat such situations. The slowdown is needed as it gives the governments more time to get the necessary infrastructure in place to defeat the pandemic. However, it is not a cure to the deadly virus. In case of COVID-19, the only ways that can help defeat the virus are vaccination and following COVID-appropriate behavior, like washing your hands regularly, wearing masks, and maintaining social distance, at least in public areas. Also, a lockdown can prove to be an economic disaster. As people sit at home, the demand, which is the key propeller of economic growth, gets completely wiped off during a lockdown.
Absolutely, and it is extremely important for people to get vaccinated and practice social distancing till the virus exists. Thank you, Nidhi, for discussing the recent spread of the coronavirus and its various variants that seem to be causing a havoc across the globe with our listeners today.
Thank you, Samta. It is imperative for people to, follow the lockdown restrictions because it is one of the ways to contain this virus.
And with that being said, we have come to the end of this podcast today. If you want to listen to this podcast again, please log on to our website, that is kalkinemedia.com, or you could also subscribe to our YouTube channel. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit that bell icon to get notifications of the latest podcasts and videos that we upload. Until we see you next with yet another insightful episode of Beyond Just Money, this is me, Samta, saying goodbye and stay apprised and invest wise with Kalkine.
Our listeners are requested to make their own inquiries about any investments, and Kalkine Media strongly suggest that the listeners seek advice from a financial advisor, stockbroker, or other professional as necessary. Kalkine Media hereby disclaims any and all the liabilities to any listener arising from any use of the information shared or discussed in this podcast. This podcast is available for personal and non-commercial use only.